Sit back and relax while you listen to Train Kickers Podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, for anyone who watches us on YouTube, you may not see his face, but you at least see a black splotch on the camera on the screen that does say Steve. He is back with us tonight. He's on a computer that's probably older than maybe even some of our listeners, who knows, but it's working just well enough, so we're going to try to make this happen. For this, the goal is to try our best to finish up the Necrons. We so far have had 2 episodes go through them. Behind the scenes, we're starting like about an hour later than we normally do, so the hope is to be able to get through it all. There's a chance we don't. If so, you'll see that in the show notes where it says we were unable to complete our task. As for other things, we know we're doing this. We'll see where else we get to, but that's the main goal right now. Wasn't able to record some other things we wanted, but hey, that's life. And now, on to the show. All right, Steve, how are you? Because maybe I'll, if I remember, I will flash it in here, the little bit of a screenshot you showed of us. So we have, I don't know, like 7 different Facebook chats and all kinds of Discord servers and all we're all on. And one of our chats, Steve showed that he had about 11,000 missed messages.
Yep. It's it's been a month. I'm adjusting to an entirely new sleep schedule, work schedule, new everything schedule. Because went from working nights at a game store, having like 3 days where I just crunched 12 hours in, to having, a normal 8 to 4 job. And my body didn't know what that meant. So it's like, oh, I got home from work. That means you go to sleep for 8 hours, right? And I've just been gradually wrestling myself back from that into a normal schedule where I'm actually awake when I get home, which is such a wild concept.
Yeah, I know it's been a bit. I know you also had your computer breaks, then you get a new job. Like everything worked against you.
The when I went in for my interview, there was a technical component, and like, okay, bring in your laptop because it's a machine you're comfortable with, and just go through some stuff. Here's some diagrams. Work through the problem. And I went, I got some bad news. I opened my computer. It said I had 2% battery left, and it wasn't charging, and it died. So I had to do all this stuff by hand. Luckily, it was easy tasks, but it was an experience. So it's been about a month since all that, and I still have a computer because I had not been awake long enough with the resources I need at the same time to attempt to fix my computer. I tried once to solder the DC input back in place. I don't think I got it quite right. I think I had to disassemble the machine more to get the connection in there. That's like an hour and a half long process. And it's also been like, I had a vacation for a week, and, I had an event, and we just got a shed installed in the back of the house, and we're running power out to it. So there's like all these other things going on. I have not had a chance to just fix it.
Yeah.
And my car is deciding that it's on its last legs. The seat of one of the brackets that holds my driver's seat in place decided to just snap in half one morning on my way to work.
You did show us that. That was impressive.
I still don't get it, but it's a thing. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is time to just get that new car. It's the 23-year-old machine. It's served its purpose.
How many miles do you have on it?
Over 170K.
Okay, that's about how many I have on mine. My car's 11 years old.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I put tons of miles on my car because of driving to work and everywhere else. I put a lot less now because we use my wife's car for stuff. Otherwise, I'd probably have like 200. It would just be falling apart. All right. Why don't we get into this a little proper? So this is our third part. Hopefully the last part, but we're going to see exactly what happens here. We are picking up where we left off. So we essentially left off at Lokhust Destroyers. For this, we're going to go through the rest of what they have here, and then the hope is also to be able to go through the Imperial armor things that they did. We currently are not going to go through the legacy ones, especially for a lot of these, because they're just things you can't even buy. Some of the other legacies, maybe that'll matter, but for this stuff, it's been told that you can't get it. So, and it's never going to kind of be updated. It's even more secondhand than the other basic Forge World is, so we're essentially avoiding it for the moment. But we are going to start with the Lokhust Heavy Destroyers. Now, Dan said he wanted the Monolith. So,
I do.
what do you have to say in the first three to get the Monolith then?
Let's see. So it's 1, 2, 3.
You need to do Doomstalkers then.
1, 2, 3.
It's like watching
1.
the little
So I have to do
child
1.
learn to count.
That's the Obelisk. 1, 2.
I'm going off the order
3. I need
have
3.
here. Yes.
Yeah. So I need to be number 3 essentially.
That's what I said.
Okay. Good.
So maybe I'll take the Lokhust Destroyer because, spoiler alert, Steve did mention that he hasn't kept up with quite as much 40k, but he's back, and we wanted to kind of finish this up, so we'll help him through. And I think Heavy Destroyers are much simpler. So maybe
I got my box set, so
Ooh,
I'll
nice.
get there eventually.
I still have to put together my Tyranids.
Are you doing Tyranids, Steve?
Oh, 100%.
Do you like the new releases that they kind of tease, the Norn Queen and shit?
Oh man, if you start me on that now, we'll never get through the details.
Okay, all right.
We'll do something soon where more of just a catch up and can be a little more casual with it then. All right, so I had to change my timestamp. Lokhust Destroyers. So going through the points very quickly first. These guys, you can take them in a variety of options. They're essentially 30 points each. You can take 1, 2, 3, or 6. And for 30 points a guy, so 2 is 60 and all of that. So you have some choices here. Reasonably fast for models we've seen in this army. Move 7, toughness 6, 3-up save with 3 wounds each. Leadership 7, they are 2 objective points each. So you're actually getting quite a bit on that base profile. Again, everything has reanimation we're not going to talk about, so we'll talk about other things they have. They do have hardwire for destruction. So each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets the closest eligible enemy unit, you reroll hit rolls of 1. So as long as you're willing to shoot at whatever's closest, and with a move of 7, you have line of sight blocking terrain, you can try to maneuver to make sure you can shoot the target that you want, you'll be able to reroll 1s. You start with the Gauss cannon, you can obviously... you start with that, you also have the melee weapon. For your cannon, so it is lethal hits, it is 24-inch range, has 3 attacks, Ballista skill 3, but remember, you can lead this unit, that would make you Ballista skill 2, since you reroll on 1s, that means essentially you're rerolling every single miss. Strength 5, AP -2 on a flat 2 damage. That is actually, for something like this, for something that is actually rather cheap, a very good profile.
Yeah. The Strength 5 is...
Strength 5 is great. You have lethal hits as well, which helps.
That's right, you have lethal hits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and
So
here's the
those
other thing you
sixes
might
to
not
hit.
remember. If you lead the unit, it can be led by Lokhust Lord. He gives them criticals on 5-ups.
Oh, God. So 5-ups, they just auto wound.
Yep.
And they're AP -2, which is already a nice AP, and 2 damage a pop kills Space Marines.
Yep. Also, if you attack someone who's below half strength, you reroll the hits, which you were rerolling anyway for this. But then you could do against other models. You have to do closest. Reroll hits and wounds.
Ooh,
So this is a good unit for finishing people off because you get a lot of bonuses. Melee is garbage. 2 attacks on 3s, strength 4, 1 damage. Who cares?
we ignored it.
Yeah, none of that part matters.
Strength 5 is nice too. That's the new Terminator toughness, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on Terminator. So at least you're on 4s because 4s doesn't feel nearly as bad as like 5 does. Going to 4, you still feel you got a shot. When you start having to go to 5s on all your dice, it just feels like you're never going to get through people.
Yeah, that uphill climb is rough.
Yeah.
That AP2 is really nice because I feel like this would be shoot at Terminators, honestly. Although Terminators are 3 wounds, but like if you have like shield Terminators that are 4 wounds.
Shield Terminators, you kill them first.
Yeah. And AP -2 is going to hit the invul.
And
These
even
are
in
nice.
that, I don't mind the loss of that 1 damage on needing 2 shots to take down a Terminator because you need something from range that does it. And my other options, what we've seen so far, are very heavy weapons that I need for your vehicles. Yeah. This is the thing I'm going to hunt your heavy infantry with because I might have to lose an attack or 2 due to damage. But especially if I've already hurt you, I'm getting pure rerolls and everything. I have lethal hits, so I'm not having to worry about that toughness on 1/3 of my shots. You're firing 3 each. If you have unit 6, that's about, on average, about 6 or so. Could be a little bit more. That are just going straight to, essentially, their invul saves. People have been seeing a lot of success with these. This is a unit that people absolutely take. They absolutely put a leader in this because of all the bonuses you give. If you want to bring 2 units, I would still probably honestly want 2 leaders.
They were solid last edition too. I'm glad to see that these guys are still solid.
Yeah. The hardest part about them is getting them.
Sold out.
These are the models from 3rd edition, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're very, very old. They are sold out. They sell them in individual. I think they also sold like a 3-pack, but I don't think it's much of a savings.
I'll check.
And they're often like sold out or missing, at least for this. I've been trying to think about how I'm going to put something together to make it. Unfortunately, I probably have to print a little bit something for it, but the top half I could absolutely do because that's a Necron warrior with a big gun. I got spare stuff,
it's a
you can see the damn thing on the website.
Yeah,
not even that it's sold out.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, there we are. They sell.
Yeah,
okay, they're single packs for $30.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. They're very good. I would assume we're gonna get a new kit on these guys at some point. I don't know when, but they're now one of the oldest kits that we have that's still valid in the range because there's no more pariahs anymore. So I would like to see these guys get something updated.
Shame.
Who knows? We might
get
pariahs.
The green tubes.
Yeah, but they are very, very good though. If you have them, run them. If you don't, see what you can do to put something together is the biggest thing. It's
actually, I'm checking eBay. People sell them on eBay for cheap.
That is true. You could always eBay these things.
I'm looking at I'm seeing a 6-pack for like $100. They're painted ish, but just strip them.
Are they silver?
My Necrons aren't.
They're gray.
I do no metal.
I think this person sprayed them gray and then dry brush silver. Point is, you're going to be repainting them. Because someone's selling 6 of them for $100. Or here, there's 3-pack for $57 on eBay. But yeah,
that's
3 for $57.
I mean, to be fair, it's an old
that's in a box.
It's been this kit since 3rd edition. That's what, 20 years?
About that,
3 for $60. So it seems like 3 for $60 or 3 for $57, 3 for $54.
All right. Well, yeah, you don't have to. You can stop at the eBay listing. You have to go through every eBay listing.
No, I'm just looking at like prices and stuff.
This one is 10 cents higher, but that one is free shipping.
Yeah,
true.
That's about.
No, it's around $55 to $60 for 3.
Yeah, that's still.
I'm okay.
I'm kind of not for the moment, but that's all right. We'll see. All right. That puts Steve on the heavy destroyers.
Oh yeah,
they're bigger
they're
brothers.
Thick, the booty.
So Lokhust Heavy Destroyers, it's a 1 to 3 model unit. They've all got Gauss Destructors, combat weapons, and you could switch out the Gauss Destructor for an Enigmatic Exterminator. Say that 10 times fast. Those aren't even real words.
It's all made up.
Yup. We got the same exact basic stat line for the most part. Movement 7, toughness 6, 3s, 4. There's to say 4 wounds is nice though.
Yeah, they get the extra.
Same leadership 7 and 2 objective capture, so they get an extra wound, which is always nice to see. In terms of weapons, we're looking at bigger guns through and through.
Oh, yeah.
The Exterminator, which is their base gun. No, their base gun is the Gauss. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the kit comes with both.
Points aren't real.
Yeah.
So either you have 6 shots at range 36, hitting on 3s, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. So that's your, spray and pray gun. Or go with the Gauss Destructor. Oh my gosh, special rules.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. It's heavy rapid fire 6, which means.
So if you're in half range, you get that many more shots.
Yep.
So it's 12 shots at 18.
That's a lot of dice.
Yeah. Sustained hits is where you get the extra 1 on 6s. Yes.
Okay. So that's if you're in short range, on average, you're getting 2 extra hits.
Yep.
And that puts you right back to 12 hits on average. No. 10 hits on average. I can math.
Sure.
On average, you're getting 10 hits at short range, which is a lot of hits.
Yeah.
But
that's not how you take these guys.
Means you're wounding light infantry on 2s, base, tougher infantry on 3s, which is solid. Or we go with the Gauss Destructor, which is heavy, lethal hits, range 48, only 1 attack, BS3, strength 14, hello.
Yep.
AP -4, hello. Damage 6.
Yep.
So there's your last cannon equivalent.
Yeah.
It's better than last cannon.
Last cannon can do more. It's better strength, but a last cannon has a D6 plus 1.
Plus 2 or D6 plus 1.
Yeah. Melta's the plus 2 at the right ranges. I think it's plus, maybe it's plus 2. Last cannon can do a little better, but the flat 6 is great. And 14 is outside of like crazy giant weapons. It's some of the highest strength that is out there.
And lethal hits, who cares? If you roll a 6 to hit, who cares? You just auto wound anyway.
And guess what? If you miss the wound, if you're shooting against the preferred target for that weapon, you're re-rolling the 1s.
Yep.
If you're shooting the exterminator against infantry, you re-roll 1s. If you're shooting the destructor against monsters and vehicles, you re-roll 1s.
Yep.
This is it's a solid package. Solid weapons.
How many? 1 to 3. There it is.
They're 45 points a model.
That's it. Okay. That's cheap.
The part of the reason is because it is one shot each. Like, it's a great shot. Yeah. But if you roll the thing and miss, it is a giant waste. Now, if the unit's being led, then they're hitting on 2s, and 5s and 6s will be those lethal hits on the bigger gun.
Yeah.
So you get, if the thing is under half, you get full reroll. So if you're hitting an already damaged vehicle, you can reroll your hits and wounds to help guarantee you get through. -4, if they have an invul, they're getting it. Otherwise, maybe they have a 6-up. But otherwise,
there are some vehicles that I've noticed are now 2-up armor.
Yes.
Right? Lehman Russ has went to 2-up.
I'm fine with that. You'll have a 6-up.
Dreadnoughts. Safe. Yeah, I know. Some dreadnoughts, but I'm saying, you'll have a 6-up. Who cares?
Yeah. They'll make some, but they're not going to make enough. And the flat 6 is really big. I run 2 of these guys because I own 2. When I get a third, I will probably run it as a full 3-pack.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not even going to lie. I agree.
So then the question is, would you go 3 of one weapon or 2 in 1?
Currently, so when I look
at
the army,
these are very specialized.
Yes. Yeah, they don't do the other job well. Whichever one you pick, the other job it's garbage at. Currently, I'm going just with the destructors because I want the more anti-tank. Now, part of it is because I didn't have a Doomsday Ark before. I have one now. But otherwise, this and Canoptic Doomstalkers were my anti-tank because we don't have a lot of others. I mean, you could take a Monolith, sure. But we don't have a lot of vehicles that do a bunch of anti-tank. Our melee options really don't anti-tank. So you need some of these dedicated units. I feel like a giant block of warriors can pump out shots. I need something that's going to take down your big heavy target. It's an at 14. I have a good shot at actually getting my wounds through and putting the damage on you. So I only run them that way.
The exterminator does look cooler, though. I'm looking at the website right now.
Oh, with all it's 3 bars.
Well, 6. I think it's 3 bars.
Oh, yes, they're on each side. Yes.
Yeah, so it does look cooler in my opinion than the one big gun.
Yeah. Oh, and I should say,
like it spews fire.
The Gauss Destructor is heavy anyway, so even if you're not leading, as long as you're not moving, you're hitting on 2s.
Oh, yeah, you're hitting on 2s.
But the leader helps make sure then you can even move because 48's good, but line of sight can be an issue. If your opponent is cagey, they'll move so you don't have line of sight, so you'll have to move to normally lower you by 1. But no, these guys are very good. Yes.
Hold on. So as a heavy weapon,
yes,
that's different in this edition than before, right?
Yes.
It's penalizing you. It gives you bonuses.
If you don't move, +1 to hit.
That's wild.
Yes.
So it hits on 2s if it doesn't move.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're on 2s if you don't move, and if you did and you have a leader, because the Necron rule is if you're led by a character, +1 to hit. So you can only ever move it by 1 as always, but this way you can move or not, and you'll still be on 2s either way.
Here's a stupid question. How the hell is this guy floating? Oh, there. I did the 360.
Yep. Yeah, he's connected underneath on a rock.
On the bottom back. Yep. Yeah. Okay. He was driving me up the wall because I thought it was attached to a rock, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, he's attached to a rock.
All right.
You need anti-tank. This is a nice and readily available anti-tank. The other option, which we're going to talk, there's obviously the Doomsday Ark. The other main option Dan's going to talk about in a moment, and that's the option probably a lot of people own because it was in the last starter box and a lot of the other boxes because it was a reasonably new.
This is the one I confused for the regeneration one, right?
Yes, you did. This one's it's very similar looking. It's just much taller, and with a bigger gun, but it's the same exact profile. The other one's like 60% the size.
Is it same kit or a different kit?
No. It's a different kit.
I thought it was just the legs get extended or something.
The giraffe. Yeah.
Yeah, the main body is bigger as well, so it's just bigger in all proportions, really.
Okay.
But this one, there was one, I want to say, in the starter kit, and some of the smaller starter kits and all of that had this in it as well. So people tend to have a bunch of these, and these were
Yeah.
reasonably not great last edition.
Well, let's see what they are now. Let's see. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Canoptic Doomstalker. You take one of them. They have twin Gauss right flares. Who cares? Doomsday Blaster. Their toughness 8, 3 up save, 12 wounds, 8 leadership, 4 OC. Okay. So they are, because they're a vehicle, probably, yeah. 4 up invulnerable. That's nice. That's really nice, actually. They'll minimize D3. So they blow up. Each time they have Sentinel Construct. Each time you target this unit with a fire Overwatch strategy, we can hit on 5s.
Yes.
Okay.
Used to be better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's okay if you had maybe an auto hit. I don't know. Oh no, if it's auto hit, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
What they used to do was if you charged someone and they were close by, they got free Overwatch.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so they have 2 range weapons. The Twin Gauss Flare is the Twin Gauss Flare. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
It's the one shot, rapid fire 1, twin linked lethal hits. It's around 4, 1 demo. Who cares? So it's Doomsday Blaster is heavy and blast at 48 inches. Blast is nice, actually. It is D6 plus 1. Hits on 4s. Strength 14. AP 3. 3 damage. Interesting profile.
Yep.
It's okay. So you're trading the one ginormous 6 damage, 7 damage hit for multiple instances of 3 damage hits.
Yeah. Between 2 to 7
Yeah.
plus blast, so it could be above that.
So you could shoot this at a vehicle, still do some work.
Yes.
Or you can shoot this at a 20-man blob of Gene Stealers and get what I gotta do math here.
Hey,
Four
that's
extra.
my Steelers alone.
4, right? Did he plus
Yes,
4?
every 5 is plus 1.
Yeah, so that'd be D6 plus 5.
Yes. You need the extra shots because its ballistic skill is naturally a 4. If you don't move on 3s, or if you're close to the crown, 3s either way. But since otherwise you miss half your shots if you're moving, before their profile changed entirely if they move, their profile went down greatly in terms of its strength and all if they move. So this is, if you played Necrons for a while, you're kind of used to setting these things up and really not wanting them to go anywhere.
They're turrets. They're
Yes.
basically glorified turrets. That's not an insult. That's basically what they are.
Yeah. They essentially have the Doomsday Ark gun is what they're carrying, though I think the strength is a little less on this. The Doomsday Ark gun, I think, is strength 15. It's like 1
I
better.
can't think of anything that is toughness 15 other than a goddamn Titan.
Monolith, what's that? Is that 14?
Oh, actually, Monolith might be.
Monolith.
But even
I think,
Monolith's
is at least-
14.
Okay.
Let me see. Where's Monolith? Let me check. Scroll.
No, 20. Where's toughness 14? Yeah, it's 14.
Oh, okay. So it's I don't think anything's 15 or except the Titan.
Yeah. So you're wounding pretty much everything on 3s or
Yeah.
2s.
Right?
You're going to have these things most likely if you played Necrons for a bit because you picked them up. This is a good anti-tank. They're only 125 points each, so they're cheap.
Oh, they're cheap. Yep.
Yeah, so my list currently, I usually run 2 because I need the extra help with anti-tank. I run this, some heavy destroyers. I may sub something out for the Doomsday Ark. I haven't truly decided yet because the Doomsday Ark's better in certain ways, but more expensive. I've been honestly really enjoying them. I do like the models themselves as well, which helps a lot. But it is good, and like I said, you need something for anti-tank, and this will fit that profile and that role very well.
I like the fact that it does both, though. It's anti-tank and also
Yes.
anti-mech. Is that what it used to be called? MEQ? Right? Or is
yeah,
it tech?
Marine equivalent.
Yeah, Marine equivalent.
No, so tech, Terminator equivalent. So it's anti-tech and also, at the same time, anti-tank.
Yes, it does do a good job against those Terminators because it has enough AP to put you to a not a great save or put you on your invul. 3 damage can take out a standard Terminator, and if there's several of them, you'll get extra shots, and you're going to wound them on 2s anyway. So,
Yeah, no, I like this gun a lot. I didn't really. It's interesting because it's not like the normal, one shot damage, 12 volcano cannon, blah blah blah.
No.
It's like multiple pips of actual dangerous damage.
yeah, it does help its viability, like you said, in terms of what do you want to target. Because the heavy destroyers are nice, But a 6 damage gun is one shot is kind of wasted on something that doesn't want 6 damage. 3 is not nearly as wasted. Even if you're just shooting regular Space Marines with it, they're 2 damage. They take 2 damage. Okay, I'm losing 1, but I should have enough shots so I'm going to actually take down a reasonable amount of them.
It's neat. It's definitely neat.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I like that one. Yes, I have 2. Actually, I have a 3rd one. I just haven't painted it. I got it from one of the auctions when I bought a bunch of Necrons for the price of like 2 beans.
2 beans.
I forget how much I got it for, but near nothing.
I remember when Necrons were like super bad, and I think 8th edition. No, it wasn't. It was like at the end of 8th edition, and then even 9th edition, they were kind of bad. So people sold them off, and like I was seeing like lots for like 200 Necron warriors for like $80.
Yeah, it was good when the edition came out in 9th, but we were like the first book, and 9th, as everyone knows, was an edition where one-upsmanship was fairly common, so they got outpaced is the biggest thing. All right, we are on to the Ghost Ark for 125 points. One of the few types of transports that exist for this army. There's only one other. Does
the Monolith count?
No, I would say no, because it doesn't really transport it. It just can make the units come out of there.
Okay.
It's a teleport spot, essentially, teleport homer. But this actually transports them around.
Okay.
Although, we have to look at it. Old lore on the flyers was that like it was more of a teleport rather than holding them. This actually holds the guys.
No, it actually teleports. So I remember the lore because I actually had Necron.
It was a teleport.
One of the very few armies, again, another army I owned, the Monolith would actually warp them either from a position on the battlefield or legitimately from the Tomb World.
Yes.
And just walk out of the portal.
But that was also what the Night Scythe used to do. It's not that they were ever in there. They were teleported, which was why it was one of the only flyers that your models are not destroyed when it was destroyed. Because your models weren't really there. But
that's so neat.
Yeah. But here's the Ghost Ark. So it is move 10, toughness 9 on this vehicle with a 3-up save, 4 pinfall. That's its quantum shielding. You're welcome. 14 wounds. It's 7 leadership. 3 objective secured. 3 objective control. It is, if you're going to get this model, paint it in sub-assemblies. Do not put it all together first, especially the warrior bodies. You are going to hate yourself by the end if you do it that way. Deadly Demise T3, it is a repair barge. So once per phase, just after an enemy unit finishes its attacks, if one or more friendly Necron warriors within 3 inches lost one or more models as a result of the attack, so they actively destroyed models, you can use this ability. If it does, select one of those warrior units and your reanimation protocols are activated. They cannot get it more than once per phase. So each of them can do it once a phase, but you can't do it the same unit. Notice it does say once per phase. So if you're behind a warrior unit, they shoot you and charge you, you could actually use it in both phases.
So to keep track here, just real quick.
Yep.
You can repair in the command phase.
Yes.
You can repair
in your command phase.
In your command phase. So then it gets to your opponent. You can repair in their command phase.
If I take a Resorb, yes.
Yes. And then if there's a Ghost Ark nearby, you can repair just one unit after it gets shot.
Yes.
Right? Unless you have multiple. And then you can do it in the shooting phase and charge phase.
Yes.
And fight phase.
And also, because we do have movement. Some people have movement and they can shoot things. There's the Overwatch stratagem, all of that. This doesn't say during your opponent's turn. It's just once a phase. So as long as you are close and you've taken damage. Now, would I necessarily do that for an extra 125 points? Probably no, because now I'm putting like 700 points into one warrior unit by the time of all this is done. Also keep in mind, you could have buffed them with, say, things like 5-up Feel No Pain into that unit. Reanimator to get an extra D3. When you're on objectives, you get your D3 plus 3 and all that. And there's some other tech. Like you can make them nigh unkillable, but you're spending tons of points. For attacks, you have your Armored Bulk. 3 attacks on 4, strength 6, 1 damage. Ranged weapon, your Gauss Flare Array is lethal hits, rapid fire 5. It's 5 attacks, so 10 if you're in half range. If you look, there's 5 guns per side, that's why. But remember, there's none of that arc stuff you got to worry about anymore. Strength 4, 1 damage, so nothing great. You're not using this for shooting. It's 125 point, essentially
Buff
mobile
barge.
piece. Yeah, what we haven't said yet, I'll scroll down so people would see it. It transports 10 warriors and 1 infantry character model.
Oh, okay, neat.
The problem is, if you want to do that, remember we have essentially Cryptex with the Lieutenant rule, which means I'm actively not taking a Cryptek into this. That is the problem. Also notice it's dedicated transport. So when you purchase the dedicated transport, you have to start inside of it. Is that still a rule, right? It was always a rule in the past. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it changed. I'm pretty sure it didn't change.
Fifth edition.
Well,
Fifth
okay,
edition,
yes.
You just took all your Blood Angels, put them inside Razorbacks, and they went different ways. But we're twice as many editions into the game now, so you know.
Several edition goes are worth that way. Yeah, every dedicated transport unit from your army must start the battle with at least one unit embarked within it, or it cannot be deployed, and it will instead be destroyed.
Oh!
Yes. Oh, yeah, as of the last edition, yeah, that was the thing. Your dedicated had to start, because you talked about Blood Angels. What did they do? Rhino Rush. I take rhinos in everyone, I cover my whole front line with rhinos, then they move. There was things like that people used to do.
Yeah.
It's fun if you have the model. I would run it as the Doomsday Ark instead. I have no problem with the Ghost Ark. If I had one, maybe I'd run it. The problem is I don't.
It's how you build your army, though. It's also how you build your army. Because let's say you have a bunch of the Doomstalkers, right?
Yeah.
3 of the Doomstalkers, because you can't take them in the squads. Okay, you maybe don't need more anti-tank. Maybe you want recursion for your Necron warriors for objective holding.
Yes, but then I'm also taking a 10-man unit and then hopefully another 20-man? Because remember, this only holds 10.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can't take a giant unit because I can't put them in it. I'd have to take them in addition. Yeah. Now, it does say something has to start in it. But warriors are all that are allowed to start in it. So you'd have to have a 10-man warrior squad.
Yeah.
And then your separate 20s. Because a 10-man squad, I don't care how much reanimation stuff you get. The 10-man squad, they're going to remove. So, it is nice. It's kind of an annoying model to work with. But it is actually very nice. But I would do it as the Ark instead. The Doomsday Ark instead of the Ghost Ark. They used to be better. But that's true of most things.
Who's next in...
Steve is next.
Oh, the Death Croissant.
Doomsite. Yes.
The Doomsite.
No, it's the Doom Croissant. Croissant.
So you'd even say it like you were French. You said it like someone trying to interpret it French.
Croissant.
It's a croissant.
Croissant.
So, we just lost all our viewership in France. Okay. Sorry.
We're not very popular in France. It's okay.
But we have friends from France.
Do we? Do I? Have
Matthew from Titanicus.
Oh, okay.
Is he French?
What's it called? Yeah.
According to Steve, he is. Sorry for not actually French.
Anyway, movement 20, toughness 9, save 3, 12 wounds, leadership 7. It can't capture anything because it's flying around.
Yes.
Makes sense. You don't have any options. It has all the guns, and you get one of them per slot. Makes sense. When it dies, it blows up. Makes sense. It's a vehicle. It's got reanimation protocols because it's a Necron. When it targets infantry with its death ray, your opponent gets to make a choice. Ooh, this is cool. So either they could stand firm or they could duck for cover. If they stand firm, hit rolls of 5 or higher, score a critical hit, unmodified hit rolls, obviously. Or if they duck for cover until the next shooting phase, models in that unit lose one of their hit rolls because they're busy scrambling for cover to shoot properly.
That's neat.
That's something I really wish they had in 30K when you do the evasion. You know, give up something to get the evade. But anyway, and then it's got a damage profile. If you're down to 4 wounds or less, you're losing one of your hit rolls. From what I understand, it's fairly standard stuff there. But I like that instigation rule. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if next wave of heresy updates gave us some trade-off like that. That's cool. Right. Weapons. It has armored bulk. I don't know why your plane is smashing into people, but you know what? If you're in that situation, best of luck. For guns, much more interestingly, We have a heavy death ray with sustained hits D3. Nice. Range 36, 3 attacks, BS3, strength 16, AP minus 4, and damage D6 plus 1. So it's a rapid fire las cannon. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then we got a twin Tesla destructor, sustained hits 2, twin linked, range 36, 6 attacks, BS3, strength 7, no AP, damage 2. The lack of AP makes me a little sad, but damage 2 and strength 7 make up for that, I feel.
And
Like,
Twin Linked. Twin Linked
and
is
Twin Linked.
reroll wounds in this edition because they hate heresy players.
True.
They could have used Shred.
They hate about 25 years of game design.
Yeah, I know, pretty much.
Slight side. Logically, I do think that this version of Twin Linked makes the most sense from a narrative perspective, because you're shooting one gun with double the barrels in one direction. You should be more likely to hit. You should do more damage when you hit, because there's more gun hitting.
But it defies all the years of Twin Linked being rerolled hits.
Right. So, as a Warhammer player of several years now, let's not put a number to it, this bothers me. As a common sense person, I love it. But yeah. So what's this one's not a transport, right? The Night Scythe.
The Night Scythe transports.
Okay.
This is your
this
mobile
is just
firing base.
Just the depth croissant. Okay.
Yes.
How many points is this?
225.
225.
Yeah, it is expensive. Keep in mind, flyer rules have changed. So flyers now rotate at the end, not the beginning, which means your opponent can be aware of where you're going to be going and try to block you out and all of that, because you can't land. You can go over anything, but you can't land on it. Though the heavy death ray is great. It's stronger than the last cannon. It's one of the strongest guns outside of a Titan weapon. Has the same damage
or a volcano
profile.
cannon.
A Titan weapon.
No, Beyblade's
Okay, so
it's a Titan.
It's still a Titan weapon. It just happens to be on a smaller chassis. But outside of Titan weapons, this is one of the strongest guns you're actually going to find in the game. It's winning pretty much everything on a 3 minimum. And the 3 shots is actually, that's more than I thought they'd give. And sustained hits D3 means if you actually do get a crazy roll, you could actually get like 2 D3 extras. It could absolutely go nuts on you.
If you roll 666, you could potentially get 9 hits.
Yeah. Like, you just destroy whatever you hit, or just roll ones on all the damage, you don't even destroy it.
Oh, that would be awful.
Yeah.
I got 9 hits, and I killed 2 Terminators.
Yeah. Its biggest downside is probably its price. I haven't followed much. Is there a lot of flyers that people are seeing?
I
haven't seen them.
So no. And oops, sorry, I just burped. The reason is because right now, besides Towering, so Towering got a big price increase, right, in the recent update. Fly is, for some odd reason, Fly is very heavily taxed in this edition.
Yeah.
And I've been discussing with people. We're not sure why, because Fly got nerfed.
Yes, it did.
You know, you don't ignore walls anymore. You don't ignore. There are certain things you don't ignore anymore, and you're still being taxed for it. I can understand being taxed than still flying over buildings and stuff, right? But I don't know. They're very taxed. They're taxed very heavily, and so no one really takes it, because why spend 225 when I can take 2 of something much way better? Sadly,
because the other thing is with this, because it's not like you even just hit them on 6s like you used to in the old days, then make me expensive. It doesn't change much.
Yeah.
And you have to start, since this thing doesn't have the ability to hover, you have to start off the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad thing. That's a benefit, not a bad.
True.
That gives you more space.
Well, yes, but there could be options where, depending on you want to go, that starting early could be good, because you can't even use it. This is a gun that I would like to be able to use first turn, because this is a gun that could actually pop their heavy target, kind of thing. But I'm looking at
Yeah, flying towering should get taxed. That's not what I'm arguing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not mad about towering being super taxed, but fly, it got too many detriments, right?
Yeah.
It got nerfed, but then it also gets we were talking about this on Friday. The problem with Grey Knights, right? Where Grey Knights exist in this weird bubble where they're actually really powerful, but because they're fly, it's like
They're not.
They're not.
No. Grey Knights aren't. They're right now near the bottom of all
Yeah, it's just
rankings.
literally if you were to not tax them the way you do,
Well, yeah.
they'd be 50% win rate, possibly a little higher.
Well, yeah.
But
If you change the way you put them, they would be better.
Yeah, just points.
That's
There
true
comes
for
that.
everyone, though.
Yeah, true.
Change every army, they could be better or worse. The other big thing is, only units with fly can assault aircraft that are flying
Yes.
like this. So you're probably not going to get assaulted very much, but I don't know if you're going to put out the output that you hope. Your weapon is very good, but if they don't have like an awesome target for it, I just think it might not kind of perform the way you want. Or if they have an awesome target for it, they're going to shoot this thing down pretty fast, potentially fast. So, all right, that's neat though. I don't own a croissant.
Yeah. Night Scythe.
Yeah.
Night Scythe is the other croissant version of this, the transport version.
Yes.
I think nothing changes. Well, I'll give it a second. This
And it's
12 wounds, 7. Yeah, so nothing changes stat line. It's still 20 move, toughness 9, 3 up save, 12 wounds, 7 leadership, OC 0.
145 points.
No, it's pretty cheap actually. For ranged weapons, honestly, it's just a twin desolate destructor, sustain its 2, twin linked. It's the same one the above. Oh no, it's got more attacks actually. Hold on.
Yes.
Oh no, it's got the same. Sorry, 6 attacks and 6 attacks. Yeah. So it's sustained hits 2, twin linked, 36-inch range, 6 attacks, 3 to hit, 7, 0, 2 damage. It does blow up, but the big thing is translocation beam. At the end of the fight phase, if there are no models currently embarked with this transport, you can select one friendly Necron infantry unit wholly within 6 inches of this transport. Unless that unit is engagement range or one or more enemy units, it can embark within this transport.
Yes. So at the end of a fight phase, if there's no one in there, a Necron infantry unit that's within 6 can go inside the transport. You can just leave.
It can't be within engagement range, though.
Yeah, you can't, as long as you're not in close combat.
Yeah.
You can just pop them up.
And is there a limit? Let me scroll down. Nope, just one Necron infantry unit.
Yes. Yeah, it
Nice.
just takes
Okay.
Necron infantry. You can put anything
No, it's
in
more
that
of like
you
it
want.
doesn't have a number. Like it's not 10 or 15. It's just
It's
the unit.
It is. It gets exactly one unit, no matter how big or whatever you call the unit, as long as they're infantry.
All right. For 140.
If
We said this before.
If you were looking for your warrior transport, your big warrior transport, this would do it.
This is it. Yeah.
Or to later pick them up and put them on the objective later that matters. Because it is a transport, then you can pop them out at a later point. So pick them up in like your opponent's turn. Now they're available to yours and stuff.
Actually, this is more powerful than I thought.
Yeah.
It's not at the end of your fight phase. It's
Nope.
at the end of the fight phase.
Yes.
So when you end your turn, I embark these guys. He flows out 20 inches and poops out the infantry.
Yes. Assuming you are lined up appropriately, because flyers
Yes.
are kind of tough to turn and all. I'm not saying it's like the greatest strategy, but it is a thing. And you absolutely could use that to your advantage if that's what you want to do.
That's good.
There is options with this thing to be able to kind of move around very quickly. And at least it has a gun. It's just expensive for being a transport, but the fact it can take anything helps. Because this is an army that is slow. So there's a decent amount of options. Taking your 10-man Lich Guard unit with your Lord, your, say, Technomancer, if that's what you're taking, to Crypt Thralls, all that. That's a unit that now could just be across the board. So,
All right.
I don't know, maybe one of these days. Maybe one of these days if someone throws some up for cheap on eBay. So, all right. Now we start getting to some of these larger, crazier things for a little bit here. We have the Obelisk. So we have the closed form. And Steve will talk about the open form in a moment. For this Obelisk, actually, let me click over here to see how expensive this thing is. I know it's expensive. 325 points. So we're getting to the
Does it have fly? And so it has fly And it's towering. So did they
Yep.
get double? It got
And it is
double hit?
Titanic.
So
they
it
didn't
definitely-
change the points on this.
Oh, okay. Neat.
No. This wasn't the problem, so they didn't change the points. It is move 7, so actually reasonably slow, but it does deep strike. It is big. This is a very big model, so trying to stay outside of 9 of your opponent could be a legit concern that you have. It is toughness 14, 2-up save on 22 wounds, leadership 7, and it does count for 8 points for objectives, so it can potentially beat out small squads. It has a Gravanic Pulse. At the start of your opponent's movement phase, you pick an infantry unit that's within... one enemy unit, my apologies, one enemy unit within 18 inches, and that it can see. Until the end of the phase, -2 to their move, 2 from advances and charges, all of that. So we've seen a few things with this. This does it as well. You just pick someone within 18. In addition, if that unit can fly, until the start of your next movement phase, roll d6 each time it ends any type of move. On a 4-up, it takes d3 mortals. You're pulling them out of the sky. That's what this does. It creates a gravity well. So if they fly, there's a chance you start doing mortal wounds to them.
Okay.
It does degrade on 8 wounds and things like that. For what it has weapon-wise, it has 4 Tesla Spheres. They are anti-flyer 4-up, so if you have any running flyers, it's decent for that. Sustain hits 2. Each sphere is 6 attacks. Ballistic skill 4, strength 7, damage 1. And it has its armored bulk at 6 attacks on 4s, strength 8, 1 damage. You're not taking it because of armored bulk. If they have flyers, this thing's really good because you can get a lot of mortal wounds on the flyers because you do have 24 shots.
Wait, where are you getting the mortal wounds from?
It has
Oh, yes.
my apologies. Not mortal, sorry. Auto wound flyers
Auto wound.
on 4s. My apologies. Auto wound. But that's good because flyers are going to a lot of times be higher than toughness 7. My apologies, not mortals on that. I wish it was.
325 points, though?
Way too much.
Way too much.
Yeah.
I thought it was a transport. If it
Nope.
was a transport, I'd be like, okay, maybe.
No.
This is not great.
And the gun, okay, it has 4 of them, 24 shots, but strength 7 on 1 damage. Nice, but for 300 and some points, I don't think that does enough. And the only other thing I'm doing is slowing a unit down a little bit. The slowing down is big, don't get me wrong, that's very useful. But for 300 some points, I'm already pretty good at anti-infantry. This is more anti-infantry for the cost of my full squad that I want tricked out, or pretty close to tricked out for my warriors.
Yeah.
You know?
This is actually, there's very few meh. This is probably one of the mess for me.
Yeah, this is very meh.
It looks cool, though.
As a shame, yeah, it does look cool. It is a giant, very cool looking model, but it just, you don't really get enough from it, in my
It's
viewpoint.
edge highlighting hell, though.
Yes.
Like, good grief.
Yeah, if you're going to actually do this model justice, you're going to be edge
Dry
highlight for a
brush.
very long time.
You get a nice quality dry brush and go light.
Yeah. Trick on something like this, for at least the long edges, get a big brush, a long brush, stuff like that. For the short ones, you could try the dry brush if you're careful. The other thing is you could use normal brush, just tip it correctly. It would still work. You just got to be a little more careful with that. And have a base color that you can easily touch up. If you need to, like, very specialized airbrush to make this work, don't do that. Dan, you're almost out of frame with how far you're leaning.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah. Not the entire screen is shown on this. I cut it a little bit to fit everything. So you were, like, just about out there. All right. That gives Steve the Tesseract Vault.
yeah, maybe this is a lot cool.
Yeah,
Also,
so
easy to
crack
paint.
her open and get that
Yeah.
Transcendent Satan in there.
I want to break free. So, you get one Tesseract Vault, complete with one spooky ghost boy inside of it.
Yep.
You got 4 Tesla Spheres, armored bulk, and no options.
Nope.
It's big, just like before. It's all the same keywords, except now it's a Tesseract Vault instead of an Obelisk. When it dies, it has a little bit bigger. It's deadly demise D6 plus 3. So worst case, you just jam it in the middle of your enemy's line and hope you roll big on the D6 to do damage. Maybe not make that a strategy, though. You do not get the deep strike, I'm assuming because you're already so space consuming. It was just
Yeah,
not
it's already
worth the
opened
effort
up.
of even
It's
putting
open,
in
so
the
it's not
rule.
really moving per se.
Yeah. Let's see. For you get reanimation protocols. For rule special stuff, you get powers of the Satan. In your shooting phase, when this model is selected to shoot, first select one of the power weapons you see left. Until the end of the phase, the model has that weapon. Okay, so you essentially you mutate and pick a gun
Yep.
each turn. Not bad. Not bad. That gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you use the model without giving it a million options you only get to pick one of or any of that. So I like that. From a gameplay, like making it versatile, that's good.
Yes.
Damage, 8 wounds left, it breaks down. 24 wounds to the third, not bad. But -4 from objective control is a pretty big drop, and -1 from hit is fairly standard. Okay, stat-wise, move 7, toughness 12, save 2 up, so we lose some toughness. We gain some wounds, which is an interesting trade-off.
Yep.
I think you will feel the toughness loss, though, more than you'll feel the wounds gained.
Yeah. A weapon that can hurt you at toughness 12 is doing large amounts of wounds, so a difference of 2 wounds isn't going to help you. You're already getting hit for like D6 plus 1 or D6 plus 2.
Yeah. Weapon-wise, let's see. Armored bulk looks identical between the two.
Yep.
So same deal there. You just bump into someone and do maybe 6 hits if your dice really like you. For weapons, you're guaranteed to have Tesla spears.
Yep.
Saint hits 2.
Yep. Same weapon we talked about.
Wait, they lost the anti-fly, though.
You are losing the anti-fly.
Yes, that's the big thing. You're grounded.
Yep. But you are going to gain one of the following every turn of your choice. Antimatter Meteor, already love it. Blast, Devastating Wounds, and Indirect Fire.
Oh my god.
Range 24, D6 plus 3 attacks. BS3, strength 10, AP minus 3, damage 3. Hello, Terminators. Goodbye, Terminators.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh. We have Cosmic Fire, which ignores cover, does Devastating Wounds, and has Torrent. Range 18, 3d6 attacks. Who needs a BS? You got Torrent. Strength 6, AP minus 3, damage, minus 2, damage 1. That's not terrible either. It's not my favorite, but it's not. So wait, if it's Torrent, how do you get Devastating Wounds?
Because
Torrent
it's
is
on
on
the
the
wound
hit.
roll.
Yeah, on the
Devastating Wounds is on wound roll. Lethal Hits is on the hit roll.
Got it.
Yep.
As you can tell, I have not even looked at a core rulebook yet.
Yeah.
Then we got Times Arrow, classic from last edition. Times Arrow, anti-character 4-up, Devastating Wounds, Precision. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Range 24, which ain't half bad. 1 attack only. BS2 though, so you got decent odds of landing that hit. Only strength 3. That's why we're anti-character 4-up.
Yep.
AP minus 2 and damage 6.
Yeah.
What's
AP
the average
minus 2 doesn't
Marines?
matter.
Yeah.
What's the average wounds on a captain in this edition? Like 6?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. If they don't have mortal wound protection on a 4-up, they're dead because you have precision. And if you roll less than a 4, you probably weren't wounding them anyway because you're only strength 3.
Because the anti-character 4 means on a 4 you just get devastating wounds.
Yeah. Yeah. On a 4-up, you count as a critical wound. And since you have devastating wounds, that makes it a mortal wounds. So you'll give them 6 mortal wounds.
So the meteor and the arrow are the 2 you're going to use the most often, I feel.
Yes.
Although Cosmic Fire ain't bad, though.
if they're close, it can absolutely be useful. I said, devastating wounds on that, you could actually have a lot of shots. It's 425 points.
It's basically a knight.
Yeah, so it's 100 points more than the last one because it gets the Satan inside.
Is this towering as well, by the way?
Yes.
Yes. And fly.
Yes. And actually, a somewhat unfortunate thing, if you look at this model is huge, but it's on a flying base. That means your opponents can get close to an objective. If this wasn't on a flying base, you could probably actually block out a whole objective with this thing, with the size it is. But
that is insane.
Yeah. The thing, when you open this thing up, it's actually very, very large.
I would use it at 425. I
Really?
would use it at 425. Maybe not in a competitive scene.
No,
But
well,
for,
if
like,
you're
in a
running
local-
for fun,
Okay,
I think
so-
you would have
Yeah,
fun with this.
running for fun. I absolutely think you'd have fun with this.
How many points is Captain nowadays?
Like 90 to 100, maybe less.
Yeah, characters are cheap this edition.
Yeah.
So you'll make up like half your points by sniping captains.
It's not even the captain sniping; it's the anti-matter meteor. Indirect fire means you can't hide behind buildings, right? Even though you're towering, which is funny. So you can't hide from me anyway. But just in case you really thought you can hide, no. Devastating wounds means D6 plus 3 of those attacks, right? When they hit and they're going to the wound, they're going to just cause mortal wounds. And it's blast. So if there's like a unit of 10 Terminators, you're doing D6 plus 5 attacks. And 3 damage each. You might pull down 2 just straight mortals. Yeah.
You can. My sort
like
of problem
this.
with it, if you're running for fun, I think it works
Yeah.
there. You're not going to see.
I think it's running for
anything where
fun. No,
someone's
no.
trying to
That's what I'm
go
talking
good.
about from the fun perspective.
Even there, though, my sort of concern with all of this is you're talking about almost a quarter of your points for this thing. If
But
it
that's true when we
doesn't
play
perform
2,000
well,
points.
yeah, it's not 3,000. This isn't 30K.
I was just talking with someone though about like playing 3,000 40K and they should increase it to 3,000.
No, they never will. That the game's not balanced at all for that. It would
Yeah,
just be it would be a
sadly.
worse game in every way imaginable. The problem is if this doesn't do quite enough for you, you're not going to get that much out of like the times arrow. If they have a character within and you can get it to go off, that's going to feel great. But if you don't, you kind of waste a lot of the output. I do like this one. I like this one a whole lot more than the other one. If I'm going to take one or the other, I'm spending the extra 100 points for this. The
Yeah.
other thing is currently this is the only way to get the Transcendent Satan.
Yes, you were talking about this.
Yes. So you almost, I don't know if it can be open and closed. I just personally don't know. But
So
if it
no.
can't, no.
So no,
I didn't think
but
so.
you can absolutely magnetize the Catan off and on.
Yeah. Because
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying to get this for that, but getting this, I could see someone getting it because they want to Transcendent Satan. And to me, you can run it as a vault without the Satan in the middle. I don't care. Just tell me he's there. Put a little note. Say he's out to lunch.
Out to lunch.
Yeah, that's fine. Put a little clock on there, like show him when he returns.
I will say this is probably the most sub-assembly model in all of Games Workshop, and
Yes.
I'm including your because so the card. I know Dave's showing the card on the screen.
Yes.
Card doesn't show this, but if you go on the website and you actually look at the Tesseract Vault, it is absolutely insane. This thing has like scarabs crawling on the inside. It has wires on the inside. It has like piping on the inside. Like this, when I say this thing is absolutely insane when it comes to the detail, I'm not joking. But it is massive. To give you an idea, by the way, you said it's on a flying base, right?
Yes, on a flying base.
Good. Just to give you an idea, because I looked at the measurements, so obviously the Necron in the middle, right, is everything. The spines, the pieces, I don't know what you would call that. The quadrants. The quadrants extend 6.25 inches away from the base in each direction.
Yes. That's it. If this thing wasn't on
So-
a flying base, you could take it alone just to eat up an objective. No one could ever get near it.
I think, and if my math is correct, because I
Probably
own this
not.
model, this is the widest model sans Forge World that GW produces.
Yes, it is. They do not make a wider model than this one outside of Forge World type things.
I think it's wider than a
Outside of
Beyblade.
literal boards.
Yeah.
This thing is massive.
Yeah.
But God,
No,
it does look
it's
cool.
a huge model.
Jesus. Like, I would just want to see it on the battlefield just for the sheer shock and awe.
Yeah. It's like the kind of thing of, I wish it was just a little better. And there's a variety of ways you could do that. Just a
Or
little
cheaper.
bit better. So that way it could be like, man, I want one of these and you use it a bunch.
Yeah,
Where
it
it is right
plays-
now, I just don't think you would.
It pays the towering and flying tax.
Yeah.
I think
It's also
you
out of
can
stock.
you can probably reasonably price this at, what was it, 425?
425.
I'd price this at 400. Actually, what's the
25
nightgown?
points is nothing.
395. I think I could see this at 395, 390.
I'm not
And
sure if that
comfortable.
difference is doing anything right now. In Index 40K, a difference of that amount of points probably doesn't do anything for us because
Yeah.
I can't take partial units.
Very true.
I'm paying for everything. When I can pay for other things than 30 right now, you know, maybe the cost is just about fine. Like, it's going to do good. I just don't think it's going to quite get its cost back, but it is an absolute crazy amount. It's also, I mean, it's entirely sold out as well.
Yeah.
So, but if you want like a centerpiece model, this is a great centerpiece model that you'll have fun with.
Oh, absolutely.
But luckily, at least the Monolith is better than it used to be, which Dan can tell us about. So you could take a Monolith
I will
instead.
short story this a little bit. The Monolith was the original reason why I collected Necrons back in the day, and I had three of them.
Everyone.
This thing, even the original, the new one, it's actually, so controversial opinion, I don't like the new Monolith. I actually prefer the old one, believe it or not. I know. I just liked it because the old one was much more kind of. This one is cool. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but the old one was much more like creepy.
The old one had that unknowable factor because
exactly. It was
bright.
like it was just a black. This one has more cool, stuff to it, but the old one was just creepy, and it was just kind of wub at you. Anyway, so movement 7. It's actually faster than I thought it would be. Toughness 14. So it's actually one of the tougher things out there next to Titans.
Yeah.
2 up save, 20 wounds. It is thick. Leadership 7. Does it have an invulnerable? No invulnerable save. Interesting.
No.
Leadership 7, OC 8.
Same as the other one.
Which, by the way, it does get subtracted to 4 OC and -1 hit when it's 1 to 7. It is deadly demise D6. Deep strike. It is more deep strikeable than the Obelisk. Smaller. Ish.
Yeah, it's smaller. It's tellable if you had them both. It is reasonably smaller.
It is still towering, still fly. The Eternity Gate. In the reinforcement step of your movement phase, you can select one Necron infantry unit from your army that is either in reserve or just on the battlefield. If you select the latter, remove the unit from the battlefield and place it into reserve. The unit then is set up anywhere on the battlefield that is wholly within 6 inches of this model and not within engagement range of the enemy models. That unit cannot declare a charge this turn. I love that rule. If you take them, wait, how many points is this stupid thing? Please tell me.
385.
385. Okay.
385. The weapons will help.
Okay. I'll check it the way. But yeah, no, the ability to just, shift your warriors or any Necron infantry from one side to the other is just amazing. You can't charge, but doing this with immortals or warriors, excellent. All right. So the melee weapon I'm going to start with because it is actually hilarious.
Yes.
It's got 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 8, AP -2, and 3 damage.
Yeah.
So it's for those who don't know the lore for the Portal of Exile, this was very old. In the back in the way days, when the Monolith, you could, teleport people out of the Monolith. It was a transport. Well, not really, but whatever. But you could also use that thing to exile people to like the Nether Realm, the Shadow Realm, Yu-Gi-Oh! It. And so that's actually pretty dangerous. 6 attacks, 8 on 2, strength 8, AP 2, 3 damage. That's nothing to sniff at there. And it has range. Does it have all these range weapons, or do you trade one?
So it has 4 Gauss Flux Arcs, and you can put 4 Death Rays instead.
Okay, got it. So let's
Particle
do the
Whip. It always has.
Let's do the Particle Whip first, then. So Particle Whip is a blast and also devastating wounds. 24 inches, 3d6 shots.
Yes.
Okay. 3s, strength 8, AP -1, 2 damage. Okay. That's a neat profile, actually.
Yeah, that's a very good weapon. Yeah. It really is.
And then let's see, you got the Death Ray or the Gauss Flux Arc. The Gauss Flux Arc is lethal hits, rapid fire 3. So it's 24 inches. So it could be 3 shots or 6 shots within 12. Hits on 3, strength 6, AP -1, 1 damage. Meh.
We have 4 of them is the other thing to keep in
you
mind.
do have 4. That's true. You do have 4. And they're not arced anymore. We're not playing with
it used
arcs.
to be arced. So for anyone who's played a newer edition, in the past, these were arced.
Yes.
There's 1 gun per, essentially arced. They're on the corners. So you can only ever really fire about 2 guns on a unit.
Such a
now you can just fire all of them at something if you want.
Oh. Death Ray. So sustained hits D3. Okay. 24 inches, 1 attack. 3s to hit, strength 12, AP 4, D6. Oh, D6 plus 1.
And you have 4 of these.
And sustained hits D3. So if you do roll that 6.
Yep.
I don't know which one I like more. So I like the Gauss Flux Arc because of the lethal hits, rapid fire 3. The AP -1 is nice. It's a nice little kind of horde clear. But goddamn, that Death Ray is nice. Shoot 4 Is it the last cannon?
That's the last cannon. Yes,
It's basically the last cannon.
Yeah, last cannon. I don't remember if they're AP 4. They might only be 3, but they might be 4.
But it's basically that. But it's with sustained hits D3. So if you do roll that 6, you're a very happy boy. Oh God, I like the Monolith so much. But it's 3. So here's the problem. It pays for towering and it pays for fly at 385. At 385, I'll take it for fun.
So this, yeah, actually, last cannon's only AP -3, so this is actually stronger. Yeah. This is actually a legitimate choice. If you're taking for fun, I would take this probably over the other two.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Like to be able to fill in some purpose. A few things about it. One, I do actually prefer the death ray because at 385, the thing I'm removing is probably some of my anti-tank. So this covers some of the anti-tank I've removed.
Yeah.
Keep in mind the Eternity Gate, due to timing, you can deep strike and then use your Eternity Gate that same turn. So I can deep strike in, and then now it's at my reinforcement step. So now a Necron warrior unit can be repositioned or come out as well. So
why would that matter?
So what's nice, one, you don't start this thing on the board because people could kill it. So I'm going to start this and say my 20-man block of warriors off the board. Now it's turn 2. I'm going to drop this down outside of 9. I'm going to drop my, because notice, the ability on him, yeah, they can't charge, but they just can't be in engagement range. They're allowed to be closer than 9 to the enemy. This thing isn't, but what pops out of it is. So then I'll pop out my 20-man warrior block out of this. Now I'm in rapid fire range or the nice close range with all my bonuses to shoot down your units. I can be in a good spot to be able to use my death rays and really hit to your army. So I'm able to transport one of my units exactly where I want, and then I could always do it again in the future by moving them around or some other unit if I really want that. The Portal of Exile means you can actually fight in melee. There's a reason why, if there's not tons of units, that you actually might end up charging in with this sort of thing. And Objective Control 8 is really nice. You can deep strike near an opponent's objective. Use, say, Giant Warrior block to shoot them down. Now it's yours. The warriors can go do something else. You can hold on to the point because your weapons have a good enough range. I don't think you're going to necessarily see it in the absolute top tier because you want a different form of pure survivability. But I could absolutely see if you were going somewhere to be competitive that this can absolutely be a competitive option. Where you're not trying to necessarily be like, optimized to the nth degree. This is, to me, absolutely still competitive. So that's my sort of thoughts on it. I think you can play competitive with this model. I think you need to be careful who's popping out of it. Like I said, a 20-man warrior block that's getting lethal hits on 5s. I think that's a good use.
Or the Immortals. This is because the Immortals were short range, right?
But
super
like
dangerous.
18 was their shorter range gun. So that could work as well. 10-man squad of Immortals. Popping out there again with the lethal hits on the 5. You want some of those extras. But I can absolutely see people running this. This is especially useful if people didn't prepare very well with their anti-tank. Because 14 is exceptionally high toughness. So even a lot of normal tank guns are hurting this thing on 5s. Last cannons hurt this thing on 5s. 14 is a very good in terms of that make or break. There's almost nothing outside of crazy Titan stuff. Nothing's wounding you on 3s, and most stuff's not even getting to you on 4s. So a lot of stuff's looking at 5s. The no invul save hurts, but you at least reanimate. If you get a reanimator close to you, you can reanimate 2d3. You have some survivability there. Also remember, if you have the crown nearby, so say that warrior block that you popped out has an overlord with the crown, you'd actually be hitting everything on 2s because you count as being led if you're within 6 inches. So there's a lot of synergies that are kind of needed, but you can get to them. All right.
I think it's a terrain piece before we get to Forge World.
Yes, this will be fast. I think I'm up, right? Because this will be fast.
Yeah, you do it. And I know you were not excited for this one.
No one is.
You might as well do it.
It's utter. Okay.
All the terrain pieces.
No. There are good terrain pieces. Some of those terrain pieces are viable.
Have we found them?
Yes, we've talked about some. Some of the ones for demons are actually good. I'm not saying, again, I'm not worried about what top table is going to do because I have no interest in top tables. But some of those, like the was it the Feculent Narmal or whatever it is for Nurgle. It's actually a pretty good piece. Not terrible in terms of points, does you some good, you'll have fun with having it. It's not going to make you feel bad for having taken it. This will make you feel bad, and it's a shame because I actually have one of these. Again, I got it from that really good trade I got. So I haven't worked on it because it's going to sit there. It's 255 points. It's the first big problem with it. It's 250 points for this thing, essentially. There's 3 of them. They're toughness 11 on 2-up saves. They don't move. 10 wounds, leadership 7. They don't grab objectives. They do reanimate. Cool. Here's what they do. Their reanimation node, while friendly Necron units are within 6 inches, each time you reanimate, you may re-roll the die for reanimation. That would be nice if it wasn't 255 points, because the re-roll, useful. Ancient Cover, much like all the other ones, essentially if you're partially blocked by this, you count as having cover. That's really what it is. That's true so far of all of these sort of things. As a fortification, an enemy's only engaged... while an enemy unit is only within engagement range of 1 or more fortifications from the army, that unit can still be selected as a target of the ranged attack, but it's at -1, so you can still shoot enemies that are just with this thing, and you don't have to take a desperate escape to ever leave this thing. They all also have an attack. They actually have a weapon, the Transdimensional Abductor. 18-inch range, 3 attacks on 4, strength 6, AP -2, 3 damage. So it has a gun, but you're paying 255 points for that. Deployment, when you first set these guys up on the battlefield, you do not have to be in coherency. Instead, each model is wholly within 12 of one other model. From that point on, they're all separate. So you can string these out around the board. You can absolutely do that. But you're spending like 1/8 of your points if I'm standing near it, to get a D3 reroll and a couple shots. If it was 100, because it used to be like 100 or so points, absolutely. I could see people taking that. I could even see at 100 points it being worthwhile, because that extra rerolls and some of these shots could really do you some things. Maybe they plug up the board a little bit. You put them in spots that's inconvenient for your opponent to really kind of get in their way. But for like 255 points, I would never take this. It's actively downplaying your army to a huge level, and it's not even fun.
Which sucks because they do look so cool.
They do, but it's not even a fun thing. Like if you're not near it, you don't even get anything from it. You'll get a couple of shots. No, it's garbage.
What a shame. They do look so cool.
Yes, and they're actually very big too.
Titanicus terrain.
Yeah, I'm going to put mine together. We'll go for that. I mean, the Necrons existed at that point. They weren't necessarily up and about, but they existed. Why not? I don't want to spend any more time on units I'm not excited about, because that's not fun listening either.
Well, let's look at the Forge World stuff. The Forge World stuff is going to be probably cool. Hopefully.
All right. So, for anyone following along, we are now going over what was part of the Imperial Armor stuff for Necrons. This document you can find if you're in America. You got to look up the British one to actually find the downloads for some reason. But we got a few units here. This should be pretty quick because we at least don't have too many of them. And it should be Steve for the Canoptic Doomstalker.
The melee.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, Canoptic Doomstalkers. They got Deep Strike and Reanimation and a Sneaking Ambush. They can heroically intervene for 0 command points. Nice. And they can do so even if you already used that stratagem. I love that.
Yes.
War Gear abilities, Bloom Prism Aura, while Necron's units within 6 inches of it, they get Feel and Pain 4 up against psychic attacks. Okay.
Yep.
Are psychic attacks be prevalent in this edition, guys?
It depends on who you're facing. Grey Knights and Thousand Suns, the whole goddamn army.
Yes. So, I'll put this way. In general, no, but it's not a bad to have if you're not really paying points to have it exist.
Okay. So let's see if the rest of this makes up for it.
Yes.
Like, covers the points. What are the points, by the way?
There's the Stalker. This is 130.
130. Yeah, it's 130 for the Stalker.
Okay, so it's not terribly expensive.
No.
It's half a terrain set. A little over.
I know, right? I'll take 2 of these over that terrain set any day.
So we got movement 10, already been in that terrain set. Toughness 9, 3 up armor save, 4 up invul, 9 wounds, leadership 8, and a 3 capture value. We got Gauss Slices, which are lethal hits, range 24, 8 attacks, BS 4, strength 5, -1, damage 1. It's an okay gun. It's basically a
Remember,
cute infantry gun
monsters
strapped
and
together.
monsters can shoot into their own combat.
Yes.
So if he's in combat where he wants
True.
to be, because this is the melee version of it,
Yes.
the other guy's the gun version.
He is a monster.
They could shoot you at -1 as well, but you can actually shoot into close combat with him.
Okay. Let's look at this combat weapon. You got range melee, sustained hits 1, 6 attacks, weapon skill 4.
Canoptics are usually force.
-1 damage 2.
Yeah, that's the thing with Canoptic,
Anytime
they're
a
force.
dedicated or, designed for melee unit hits on 4s, I immediately lose interest in it
No, I agree.
because it should hit on 3s.
Yeah. It's force because it's Canoptic. Same thing happens with Wraiths. As soon as you're Canoptic, you're usually about 1 less on your stat.
And like 90% of Tyranids, I'm noticing.
Yeah.
That's a separate discussion. The 4 just completely killed it for me.
It's only 130 points. That is
It's
dirt cheap.
survivable, I think.
It's
Yeah.
survivable, and I think if you stick it in
4
melee, it's
invul,
annoying.
decent stats, but the four takes me out.
Listen, if you own it and it's 130 points, I would take it.
Yeah.
Not competitively, maybe, but like
No.
for fun.
Well, let's keep in mind some of this stuff, since now we're kind of getting to certain parts of Forge World, whether or not some of that stuff is fine, can potentially go up in the air, because these models, we don't know if these are going to get updated rules. We don't know exactly what they're going to do with it. Keep in mind also, since these are essentially sort of the separate stuff, we know they might not be quite as balanced, so they're probably going to be a little bit under rather than over for most of these sorts of units. GW is going to err on the side of caution, usually is what they do for these sort of things. Because I don't think a lot of these guys are supposed to get up. Maybe they will. They might surprise us, but it looks neat. It's a giant centipede.
No, this is these. I owned one. They are an absolute nightmare to put together, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so, are you looking at it right now, Dave?
Oh yeah, no, I know it.
Every single one of those segments, right, is individualized.
Oh, of course.
Every single one of those segments has 2 legs. Each leg is 3 pieces, and it contains a little mandible arm, which is 2 pieces.
But it's posable, right?
Oh,
Yes.
it's very posable if you look at it.
So each segment is a ball and socket joint with the other segment, right? Each of those legs are 3 pieces, which are also ball and socket to themselves and also the main body segment. And it's got 2 mandible arms underneath the body. I don't know if it shows in the picture. I don't have it open. It's got like these little tiny tiny things underneath that are also ball and socket and 2 pieces. So each one here, so it's 3 threes, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the body, 11. Each of those sections is 11 pieces. And
Thanks,
completely
I hate
posable.
It's a shame because those look really cool, and it is very posable. If you look at the 2 versions they do look very, very different. Maybe you just wrap it up like a pill bug. Like lay them on a
There's
side.
so many things people have used this for. I've seen people use this, actually, my favorite. And I did this. I don't know if you remember this. When I did my Dark Mechanica Magos,
Yes.
I used this body as for not Bellacore, Jesus Christ, for Belisarius.
Yeah,
Belisarius, which became my Scoria before Scoria was a thing. But yeah, no. You could see the segments. So yeah, the toe is a segment, that middle forearm is a segment, and then the piece that it attaches to is a segment. So each leg is 3 pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then underneath him, does it have like a good underneath picture? No. But okay, so you see the head, how it has those little like.
All right, I believe you.
Yeah. So it is a absolute nightmare.
The other one shows it underneath.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, you can see the little tiny mandible pieces. Yep.
Yeah, there's some little mandibles in there. Yeah, no, it does look like there's a lot to do to assemble this thing.
But probably one of the coolest looking models.
In this line, this is one of the better looking models, absolutely.
Speaking of cool looking models, he has a brother.
Yes, he does.
He's got the Canoptic Tomb Sentinel. So this is you're trading the claws for essentially a big mouth gun. I don't think the stats change. It's still move 10, T9, 3 up, save, or
Yeah,
4
it's
up
all
and
the same.
vulnerable. Yep. Wounds 9, leadership 8, 3 OC. Okay. Still can deep strike. That didn't change. Oh, I didn't even notice these guys don't blow up. Huh,
No, they do not.
interesting. Still a monster. So the keywords didn't change. So Aggressor Guardian. Each time an attack targets this model, if this model is within range of an objective marker, worsen the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Ooh. In addition, each time this model makes an attack that targets a unit within range of an objective marker, improve the armor pen characteristic by 1. So if you're on an objective, worsen the armor pen coming into you. If you're shooting something on an objective, increase the armor pen outside. And then of course it has the same Gloom Prison or Necrons within 6 inches, get a 4 feeling pain against psychic attack. So melee weapons.
One thing quickly. Aggressor. When you make an attack against the unit within range of the marker, it doesn't say ranged.
No, it's both.
Because you said a ranged attack. It's your close combat would have it as well. If you were on an objective with them, say you needed to charge in and get it, you actually get it on both ends.
Okay, so that actually will, because I was just reading the Sentinel claws, that actually makes me a little more excited.
Yeah.
Because he's got little tiny claws. There's 6 attacks, 4 up to hit, strength 6, AP 0, 1 damage, but it becomes AP 1 if you're on an objective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the ranged weapon is the Exile Cannon. It is blast, 18 inches, D6 plus 1 shots, not bad. 4 up to hit, strength 10, AP 2 or AP 3, 2 damage.
Yep.
He's got to be 15. Oh, he's cheaper.
Yeah, he's
I was gonna say, is he more expensive because he shoots?
I like this bet.
I like this guy a lot more.
Because I feel like
that's an annoying. That is an annoying thing. You have tactical Marines on an objective. If he's 18 inches away, he's going to blow them away. Because it's like, oh, I'm going to play Armor of Compent. Now I have a 4 armor save. And you're like, you're on an objective, AP minus 3.
Yeah.
That's, I like this guy. I also own this guy too. And I will say the funniest part about this model is the little wiggle butts he has at the end. He's got a tiny little wiggle butt, like wiggle antennas in his butt area.
Oh, it's that one. Okay.
Yeah. It is really cute.
This guy is honestly overall quite good. The other one, getting to do heroic intervention for free is nice, but if your melee profile isn't screaming out that you're really going to mess someone up in close combat, it doesn't feel like it does enough. This one, instead, you consider on objectives to be harder to hurt, and then go rush at them while they're on the objective to stand a much better chance actually getting through them.
Yep.
I think this one is actually legitimately good, and that damage to profile
and
means
cheaper.
you can select the right targets. Yeah,
and
115. Cheaper. You have points for that. If you happen to have one, you can fit it.
That's negligible.
Yeah. The -1 to when they're trying to pen you isn't quite as important because you're 3-up/4 up invul, but it means you are more likely to be on your 3s, especially if you happen to also have cover and they have some minuses. You'll probably still be on 3s even with their minuses.
Listen, you're toughness 9. If they're shooting you with bolters at -1 ren, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
They're going to be shooting you with las cannons.
Yeah. And you don't have the wounds to survive that well, so you're going to need... I mean, you'll still be on the 4s then, but maybe you can find some ways.
He does deep strike, so you just kind of deep strike him 9 inches away. With 18 inches, you go, haha, you're an objective, and you just exile blast them to the nether, to the shadow realm.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where you either want to get onto the objective yourself if they weren't there, or get 9 exactly where you can get as close as possible on that. Shoot them, they're on the objective, then charge in on them. As long as they're not dedicated close combat unit, you could actually probably hopefully get through them a bit. Your objective control 3, you might be able to whittle them down enough to actually take it from them. Or tie them down. All right. That moves us.
Another cool model. The next cool model. Yeah, another cool model.
Yeah.
A lot easier to build.
Yeah.
They look hard. They're not.
These guys, it's 3 for 85 or 6 for 170. Let me click one more. There we go. So they're move 12, got a toughness of 5, 3-up saves, 2 wounds each guy, leadership 8, and they're 2 objective each. They do have infiltrators, so that's going to help. You can actually set them up outside of 9 of your enemy's deployment zone or enemy units. Damaged armor. In your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of that phase, each time any friendly Necron unit targets them, on a critical wound, improve the AP by 1.
Oh, I like that a lot. Because you critical hit on 5-ups.
No. Well, if your ability does, your AP on the crit is better. Doesn't mean that you crit on 5s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, okay.
Not a lot in this army does critical wounds. So, another, what I should say, like a devastating wounds or anything like that. So, what this helps is every 1 in your 6 wounds is going to have an extra AP. Actually, let's go through the weapons, and I'm going to talk about why I don't think I like this. Cutting Beam, Melt to 2. Actually, I might like it for this. Melt to 2, it's 1 attack on 4s. Strength 9, AP minus 4, D6, or D6 plus 2 if you're in half range because of Melta. Void Blade, so it's melee, it's 3 dice again on 4, strength 5, AP 2, 1 damage. You're getting 3 of these guys for 85 points. So, damaged armor is nice. The thing is, it's on the critical wound, which means it's on the 6s to wound, and I have to roll to wound. You have several ways to get lethal hits. That's actually somewhat common in this army. Your lethal hits means I don't get the extra AP. If I happen to have devastating wounds, which is rare, it's not super, super common. This doesn't matter, of course. So, helpful, but it's not going to come into play tons.
How cheap are the Tomb Blades again? Because this is basically what you would take instead of Tomb Blades, right? So what are Tomb Blades?
80, I like Tomb Blades more. Tomb Blades are 80 for 3. So they're essentially the same points, let's say. I like Tomb Blades more.
I like Tomb Blades more.
The Cutting Beam is nice. A Melt-A-Gun is nice. Infiltrators are actually pretty good, although I do worry about time on Infiltrators because you're a 3-up save with 2 wounds, and if you don't end up going first and you're ill-positioned, you could lose these guys before they even get a chance to go. I don't mind them, but I'm not thrilled.
Yeah, I thought they'd be a little cooler. Yeah. Models are awesome, though.
That's the thing. Their models look really cool, so I wouldn't mind taking them for those models. Also, what? I'm sorry?
No, I just said the models are straight awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just they're nothing thrilling, unfortunately. There's nothing too thrilling about these guys.
Sadly.
Yeah. I think it is to Steve for
the Doom Ball?
The Tesseract Ark, yeah.
Yeah, the Doom Ball.
Oh, yeah. All right, so the Tesseract vehicle fly, pretty sensible. Deadly demise, only 1. Gravitational field. When it gets charged, you subtract 2 from the distance, not cumulative of the penalties. For weapons, we start default with a Singularity Chamber, 2 Tesla Cannons, and an Armored Bulk. We can switch out the Tesla Cannons for Gauss Cannons or Particle Beamers.
Mm-hmm.
So we also got the Singularity Chamber, right? So let's start with that.
It always has the Singularity, yeah.
So that's going to be one of 2 firing modes, either Ignores Cover Torrent or Blast. The Torrent version is range 12, attacks D6 plus 3. Who needs to roll to hit? Strength 6, 8 minus 1, damage 2. D6 plus. I like this because it's a nice flat plus 3, which is consistent. And I like consistency in my shooting quantities. For the other option, the Blast version, it's range 36, attacks D3, ballistic skill 3, strength 9, AP minus 3, hello, and damage D6 plus 1. Both of those are fairly solid options. For range weapons, we start with the Gauss Cannon. It's lethal hits, range 24, 3 attacks, BS3, strength 5, AP minus 2, damage 2. We can switch it out for the Particle Beamer, which is range 18, D6 attacks. Oh, my eyes started watering. Give me a second to dry them off. Ooh. BS3, strength 6, no AP, damage 1. less impressed by that. But
Yeah.
Devastating Wounds has potential, but with only D6.
Yeah. Blast, so
But
you
it's-
might get
but
a
it's
few more, but you still won't have
blast.
tons.
I don't know. It's kind of swingy, I feel.
Yeah.
Doesn't
You
really
have two of
penetrating
them at
power
least.
outside of it. True. So it is 2d6.
Yeah.
Maybe
All these
plus a
weapons
bit.
are 2s. Except for the singularity chamber.
Yeah. With the Tesla cannon, sustained hits 2. 4 attacks, so really is secretly 8 attacks at range 24. BS 3 up, straight 6. No AP, damage 1.
What is this? 140 points? 150 points?
You know, I was looking at it, and I don't remember now, so I got to look back.
If it's
It is
140, I'll
130.
take it. Oh, it's
130.
even cheaper than I thought.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I wouldn't even use the anti-tank seismic lash. I would use this literally as a horde clear. Because what's funny is the seismic
That's what I
lash
was
is
thinking.
is
Yeah.
only strength 9. So it's not really doing what you need it to do. If it was strength 12, then I'm like, okay, it's a 3-shot, las cannon. But it's strength 9, so you're targeting infantry with this. So it's like, eh. But flying around with D6 plus 3 ignores cover torrent, 2 damage AP -1, and then 2d6 of the particle beamers with blast devastating wounds. I'm dumping just saves on people. That's what I would use this for.
Yeah.
And again, it's 130.
Yeah,
It's cheap.
I think using the particle hurricane is the right call. I like that in general in most cases. It's nice that you have the other option in case you do need to try to hit something a little bit heavier, but I do like that option. I like either the Gauss cannon or the particle beamer, because the Gauss cannon at least has a good AP and the 2 damage, and you'd have 6 shots with that. The particle beamer, you're going to get more wounds, but less damage, no AP. So again, if you're selective and good about your targets, that can actually do quite well as well. But I'm not sure which gun I like more. The fact the other one has some AP and flat 2, I'd probably keep this thing where everything's 2 damage.
Yeah.
Everything wipes us, a
Marine.
standard infantry. Yeah, a Marine guy. I do like it overall, though, for
This
for
one,
130.
I don't like the look of, and it's the same
It's
reason.
weird.
No, actually, so let me rephrase that. Sorry. Let me redeem. I like this more than the command barge. I think the command barge was straight goofy. This looks better than the command barge, in my opinion, but still goofy as hell. But still really goof.
Is it mono wheel? No. What? Remember from who knows when, like the 50s or whatever, where they were doing like motorcycles, whatever they call it, but you were in a giant wheel.
The mono.
It's not. I thought mono wheel, but mono wheels or one wheel's a thing. Oh yeah, sorry, mono wheels. Yes,
It is a mono wheel. Yeah.
That's what I thought. It's that, but it's like just not fully closed. It essentially looks like a mono wheel to me. I'm not a huge fan of the look of this model.
I like it better than the command barge. So,
but the command barge at least you could find. You're not finding this thing. These have been out of stock for. Oh my apologies. This one is in stock. This one actually is.
I was gonna say this one's in stock. Everything
Most of them
else
are out of stock. This is like the one that's in stock.
A big
Actually, literally all the other options are out of stock. This is the only one that's in stock. I do like it, and it's at a good points cost.
Yeah, and 130 is again cheap. Surprised it's cheap for being fly, but whatever. I ain't gonna listen. I ain't gonna give
the fly
GW.
doesn't do that much for it at the end of the day, really.
Well, it's because everything with fly just got more points. So I'm surprised it's not 140. That's why it cost it at 140, 150. But I guess someone just forgot. So I ain't gonna say.
Well, I don't think they're quite as concerned when it comes to these units because they're just making sure nothing's over the top, and it's definitely not over the top. So the fly ain't gonna do that much for them.
I think this is the last unit.
This is the last unit.
And it is a really cool unit. How big is this thing? Out of stupid curiosity?
Know. I've seen pictures of it. It looks quite big, but I don't personally know.
What if it's night sized? All right. Anyway.
Not as tall. I think longer, but not as tall, no.
All right, so.
It's, what, 400?
The Seraptek.
Sorry, 540. They actually changed the points cost up. This points cost went up. It's 540.
Oh, Jesus, of course it is. So, all right, Seraptek Heavy Construct. It is a Walker Titanic Towering. So you're hitting Titan size now.
Yep.
It is movement 10, toughness 12, 3 up save, 5 up invul, Shame. 24 wounds, leadership 7, OC 10, which, by the way, if it goes to 1 to 9 wounds, becomes OC 5 and subtract 1 from the hit. It is deadly demise D6 plus 2. It is a terrifying monstrosity. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit with engagement range of one or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test. So if you're touching it, be afraid. And a Titanic Walker. Oh, this is the same rule that they all get. Yeah.
Yes.
Each model, you basically can
you can move
normal,
everything so
advance,
it's
or
not
fall
the
back.
4.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Or just models.
Yep.
For ranged weapons, it could take one of or 2 of these, but it chooses, right?
Yeah. So it has 2 singularity generators base, or it gets 2 of both the other weapons.
Oh, and sure. Okay, so let's break this down. So if you take 2 singularity generators, you are taking a blast and devastating wound weapon at range 36 with 2d6 attached each. So that's 46 in total. 3s to hit, strength 10, AP 3, 4 damage. That's a 4.
Yep.
That's a good profile right there. That is a I don't like your Terminators profile.
And if you can get the crown close enough, you can be hitting on 2s.
Yeah, that is it. Okay. That's going to hard to shift me from my love of that. So you can take 2 of those or 2 of the other 2. Right?
Yes.
So, okay. So you could take 2 Synoptic Obliterator. So this is now so you come with 2 Synoptic Obliterators, which are sustained hits 2 each, 48 inches, strength 8, 3, or sorry, not strength 8, Jesus. 8 attacks each.
Yes.
So 16 attacks. 3s to hit, strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. Okay, so you're more of a Space Marine killer. But you also get 2 transdimensional projectors, 48 inches, 2 attacks each, so 4 attacks. 3s to hit, strength.
Yep, there it is.
Strength. Okay, strength 24.
Yes.
AP -4, D6 plus 4. Oh my god, I don't know which one I like.
Yep.
So here's the fun part. I didn't even look at the melee weapons, but if you tank shock with this thing, you're rolling 24 dice with looking for 5s to do mortal wounds. Right?
Well,
yes.
4d6. You know, on average, you're looking at 14 dice.
No. When you tank shock, right? You take the highest strength of your ranged weapon.
Yes.
So
I forgot. I don't think. And what's the max amount of wounds you can do on a tank shock?
I want to say 8. I remember because it was like Korn's number, and that's why I was laughing.
Okay.
I want to say it's 8.
That's true. So this thing would be pretty good at tank shocking.
Yeah. Save 2 CP to tank shock with this stupid thing. All right, melee weapons. You could sweep or strike. Looks like it's basically, I think, an Imperial Knight chainsaw. Let me see. Yep. So 6 attacks or 12 attacks, both hitting on 3s. Strength 14 or strength 8. AP -3, AP -1. 5 damage or 2 damage. And that 5 damage, secret little hints, 5 damage is actually really a break point. You might be saying, how? There's no 5. 5 damage is a break point because there's a lot of stuff that does damage -1. So for example, 4 wound Terminators with shields. So when you do damage -1 and you do 5 damage, you're like, I still kill your Terminators. But how he's 520? Why?
He's 540.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he went up in points. I don't remember what he was at the beginning, but he actually changed points.
So this is where I'm going to check something. I'm assuming that the Poppy Knight Porphyrion is going to be here. I just want to check something real quick. So
you can find the Porphyrion in the
app. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I was looking for the points. Does the app have the points, or do you have to like build a list?
No, it has the points.
Really?
Yes.
If you click on the unit?
Yes.
Oh.
It's under unit composition. Porphyrion 745. 1 Porphyrion.
Okay, so it's more. Okay. 500 points. It's a quarter of your army. It is going to take a lot of shots. It's only a 5. If it was a 4-up invul, I'd be a lot more happy at 500 points plus.
I would too, but you do have to keep in mind with all of its wounds, it is reanimating those. And if you do have the reanimator nearby, you're reanimating 2d3 on your
god,
turns.
I forgot it. I just completely forgot about reanimation.
Yes.
Oh, this thing's disgusting. Okay.
Well, yes and no, because it could still do tons of damage in a turn.
Yeah. But you'd have to really just not 2,000 points into 500 is not an equal trade. And you're not going to have 2,000 points, Dave, of killing toughness 12 to 24 wounds.
In general, no. In reality, you won't. And I mean, opposite. If you got this guy on the board, you absolutely want to be going first. You're hoping to go first because he needs to start earning you immediately, because they're going to have something that could put a lot of wounds on you that you need to take down.
I would put a Res Orb. Is the Res Orb an AoE or it only affects the unit?
The Res Orb on the command barge is AoE.
This is okay. Remember how I said I didn't like the command barge? Here's one of the very few times I'd stick a command barge next to this asshole. Because
I gotta check. I want to make sure theirs works the same though.
Oh, okay. Because this is absolutely one of the times where I'm absolutely going to get a command barge, stick it within 6 inches of this dude, so he's regenerating D3 wounds in the command phase of the opponent, D3 in the command.
Oh no, it won't work on him because it's Necron infantry or Necron mounted. So no, it doesn't work on him.
Shameful display.
Actually, does the reanimator work? Does it? I think the reanimator is just unit.
Reanimator's better. I ignored the reanimator because I thought.
Well, the reanimator is always better. I thought it was going to be reanimator's just Necron unit within 12 gets an extra D3.
Okay, so the reanimator's so screw the command barge. It sucks anyway. I'm glad I was redeemed and saying the command barge sucks anyway. Yay! No, I'd stick this guy near reanimator.
Yep,
I like this guy.
Yeah, you get two D3 every one of your phases, and you're going to take a reanimator anyway because it's amazing.
Yeah, what weapon? I don't know which weapon I like more. I like both way too much.
The Singularity Generator is going to feel better in many cases when you roll decently or they don't have a giant piece looking back at you. If they do have a giant thing, if you're going against an army with giant knights or something crazy like that, you will have wanted to have a strength 24 weapon because you're going to be wounding almost everything on 2s.
And plus, I mean, the Obliterator, the Synoptic Obliterator that it comes with, that's still neat. That's still a good gun.
Yeah, because you'll get that one as well. So you're getting, and you have 2 of them. So you're actually getting quite a bit.
16 hits generates on 6s an extra 3 hits, I believe,
you're
roughly.
So between 2 to 3, it's a little bit more. It's a little more weighted towards 3. But let's say even if you only get 4, let's assume you don't have the crown nearby. So on 16, you are getting about 4 or so extra hits, and on 16, you're missing 1/3 of those shots. So you're missing about 5. So you're actually almost back to the start. You're probably getting 14 to maybe 16 hits. When it's all said and done, you're almost back to the match you threw at.
Oh, no, it's sustained hits too. It's not even sustained hits 1.
Too.
Oh, yeah.
That's what gets you pretty close back. When you roll, if you roll average, you're close back to 16 hits with this thing. Because you're going to miss about 5, but you should get about 2 that go off on sustained hits. So you should get about 4 back.
I would take this thing just for one, the meme.
Yes.
But also because he's actually not bad. He is actually cool good. Yeah.
One of the lists I saw someone did, they had 2.
He took it to a tournament, I'm assuming?
He posted online. I think he was taking to a tournament just to see how it did, but he actually had 2.
Damn, I wish I would have. Oh my God, no, he's huge, Dave.
Yes.
Holy shit.
No, I know it's big. I haven't.
No,
I don't.
Do you know how big?
It's very big.
No, wait. Do you know how big he is?
No, that's what I would have said. How big he was if I knew how big he was.
Hold on. How do I'm just gonna save.
Just put it in the Discord.
Big.
That's exactly what I'm doing. On.
Yeah, I pulled it up
because I want to hear your reaction to this. So really quick, Dave, how big do you think he is?
I don't know. Smaller than a Tesseract Vault.
Top.
Is it not?
Look at this thing.
Oh wow, yeah, he's a big boy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah, he's bigger. He's bigger than a knight. That's for sure.
He's thicker than a knight, taller than a knight. I'm not even including the claws. Just him on normal legs with like the top of his body is taller than a knight, thicker than a knight.
And look at the size of that poor Warhound by comparison.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus. He dwarfs it.
Holy shit! This thing is massive.
He's really cool looking. He's both cool looking. He's a great model. Now, it's sold out. It's super expensive. So, but if you happen to have one, yeah, run it. It'll be fun. I
would 100% run it because it just looks so damn cool.
It is an enemy crab.
Yes, it's a giant angry crab. And though it is very good for the amount of points it is, I think that helps from it being an NPE experience for your opponent.
Yeah.
Because like it is really good, but it is actually only toughness 12. If you got good anti-tank, you will get through this. It's not going to live the whole game unless you probably get to go first and you can really target their tank killing stuff down. Or
so I will actually describe that because I used to play Kaiju Demons. Less deadly or less deathly than you think. So my demons had a 4-up, but only toughness 11, right?
Yeah.
And again, unless you have like 4 or 5 las cannon squads or 4 or 5 eradicator squads, or they did not go down in one turn. They got hurt, but they got hurt in so far that they maybe went down from like their 18 wounds down to 8, like just rolling average. This is tougher toughness, less invulnerable save, but it has 8 more wounds. Yes. 6 more wounds.
And the ability to reanimate those wounds.
And the ability to reanimate. So I actually think, I know you say it's not as tough, but I would actually disagree and say, I think you're misjudging the level of tough that this thing is. No, my God.
I'm not saying that it does not tough. It absolutely is. But like, the Monolith actually has a higher toughness category and stuff like that. I think this is a model that your opponent's not going to look at and say, well, I could never, ever hurt it. If they have good anti-tank, they could put a lot of wounds on it. And let me tell you, reanimating, say, 2d3, because you're near the reanimator, is nice. But if you don't roll amazing, they can still get you through, because big anti-tank weapons that will be what reliably hurt this thing do good high damage.
Dave, was that the list you were talking about? I found this on Google. Is this the person?
2 of them?
Hold on, look at the picture real quick. I don't want to.
There's another picture. Okay, give me a second. I usually don't actually have Discord open when
I got you.
This. It might be. That's funny. I'll hold this up to the camera. It is 2 of these, a Tesseract Vault, and
10 warriors,
a 10 warrior squad.
And who cares?
It looks like a Lord. It might be a Lord or Overlord. I'm not sure what he's running that as.
Depending on the points.
Yeah.
That is a cool list.
It's on a tournament tray, so yeah.
Yeah, that is. I would not mind losing to that list just on sheer. Although he didn't. I'm not sure you would though.
Reality wise, I don't know if you would.
Do they? Wait. Do you have the option of not taking armed weapons? And he doesn't have armed weapons on these guys.
Well, 1, they sell them separate, but 2, he might just be trying to wait to magnetize something like that. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't matter too much. But I don't know. I don't know if that's probably not actually a good list. Unless if they're bringing knights, it's a great list.
Dave, you know me. I'm looking at that list right now. I don't care if it's good or not.
No, I understand, but you're like, I would lose that list. Depends on what you've run. There's many lists that would absolutely beat that list. But if they happen to have giant, heavy models, that's when they think. Like, this list with transdimensional projectors would love to see knights. Because if I get first turn, you're down probably 2 to 3 knights.
God, this thing
off of that list, or more. I'm taking half your armor.
I'm still looking at pictures.
Yeah.
And someone did like a gray scheme. Oh, this is actually when you did your Necrons, the glow, right? What glow did you do?
Orange.
Mine
are orange.
So I don't want to like spam you with pictures is the problem.
Sorry, you're spamming it into our Discord. That's okay.
Okay, so here, I'll just take a while.
Not spamming me personally.
This reminds me of someone you did or something you did.
Let me see.
Not the gray.
I'll see. I'll judge.
Yeah, not the gray, but the orange glow. Like that is just
with the orange. Yeah.
Looks. Yeah.
No, mine are a darker blue with a dry brushed to closer to like an ice white.
Dave, please, when you get this model, please paint it quick. Not quickly, but paint it because I want to see this on.
I have an airbrush. It goes fast with an airbrush.
Oh, that's right. You use airbrush. I'm the only asshole that doesn't have an airbrush.
Well, especially my scheme. My scheme isn't that tough to paint up. So it'll go pretty quick. It'll probably be once it's washed and assembled, it'll be under a week before it's done.
Yeah, I would love
the washing and assembling will take some time, I'm sure, because
I need to see this on the table. This thing is just, it is so damn cool.
Yeah, I don't know what else will go with it, but we'll see.
Who cares?
All right.
Who cares? It's awesome.
And on that, we are on to closing thoughts. Steve, this is your first taste of 40K. What do you think of it? Does it go down smooth?
I mean, I don't know mission structure yet, but from these damage profiles versus the durability profiles, I assume it's the same wounding scheme as last edition. Equals 4s versus 3s, half is sorry,
2s,
better is
yeah,
3s,
that didn't change.
twice is 2s. Okay,
Yep.
so that's the same. Seeing these nice, actually robust toughness values in the game, I'm talking very broadly right now,
Yeah.
is nice. It's like having armor values back without having armor values back.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could still have the lasgun doing wounds, but I feel like it's less of an issue with these kinds of stat lines. I can't speak to Necrons compared to other factions or compare these units to other units because, no joke, the only things I've seen beyond this is I quickly thumbed through the data cards for the Screamer Killer and the Carnivex.
Nice.
And that's it.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. You don't know it yet. You don't have to know it yet. You'll get there.
I'll get there. Give me like a month and I'll finally get the core rules down.
Yeah. Honestly, they're not tough. Because between playing 40K in the past and playing 30K now, you know the thing. Your characters go back into units. There you go.
Yeah.
Like, once you do that, you're pretty set.
That this edition is very good for hero hammering.
Yes.
What? No,
Yes,
no
it
one
is.
does hero hammer in the store. That's just dumb.
So I'm tempted to say that nice little open vault would be a pretty solid addition. If you have issues with heroes cramping his style. Other than that, I honestly have no idea of anything to contribute.
Hey, that's fair.
Necrons are cool. They've changed aesthetically a lot over the years, which is kind of cool to watch evolve. If you go back to the days of second edition and Gorka Morka, when they first had prototype sculpts,
Jesus Christ.
they had the scarabs that were actually like scarabs, and they had warriors and pariahs, right? That's pretty much it. And then
Monolith.
No, that was until third.
Well, yeah. Sorry, right after the beginning,
codex.
yes, but very shortly after they got the Monolith.
Yep. Then they got their codex, they got the plastic kits, they got the Monolith, they got the one destroyer that we still have today. And that's when they went into their soulless killing robot existence.
Yep.
No longer did they protect the poor Diga knobs of Gorka Morka. Now they were out for blood. Monolith's iconic. It's so iconic.
Monolith used to be unkillable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you did manage to kill it, you basically won the game.
You didn't even need to kill the rest of the army. So for anyone who doesn't know,
also true.
Necrons used to have a rule called phase out. If you destroy enough of their army, they leave. So the Monolith was legitimately unkillable. You weren't going to kill it, but just kill the rest of the army. If you kill enough of the rest of the army, boom, you win the game.
It was 80-14. You couldn't get bonuses to
Melta
penetration against them.
Yep.
You didn't get Melta. You didn't get Lance. You just had to be strength 8 and higher and roll high enough. And there were no glancing hits. There was a table of results.
Yep.
So you couldn't even just chip away hull points. You had to just break every single individual weapon off of it and immobilize it, and then it would be a wreck.
Yeah, you
or
didn't
you get
fight the
really
Monolith.
lucky with the last.
Yeah, you never fight the Monolith. You used to fight the other rest of the army because you could remove the rest of them.
In theory.
There was a time when it was kind of rough, the fact that you could just get removed by destroying enough stuff.
Yeah, but then you think about their Gauss, the basic Gauss, right? Gauss blaster, auto glance vehicles on 6s.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what are your thoughts then?
I mean, I could see why these guys. I like to talk more competitive.
You do.
Even though it's so funny, I haven't been to a tournament in like 3-4, I think 4 years now, 5 years.
Yeah.
But I like this. I like statistics, and Dave was probably laughing at me because I know Dave teaches stats, and I was telling him like, you were there when I was like, hey Dave, stats are fun because I found like a program that runs all the stats for like the tournaments using BCP, and it looks at like, I was looking because I was doing custodians, like the breakdown of, why are custodians 50%? Oh, they win against the other armies, but let's say they win against Thousand Sons a lot more, but if they go against Chiefs and Occults, their win rate is like up 21%. It's abysmal,
Yes.
right? So it's really cool. I was like, oh, this is awesome to see why they're 50. Anyway, I could see why Necrons are some of the top. Was one of the top 3 armies. They have.
I would not put them in top 3.
Well, they are top. Well, they're top 3
Not by numbers,
so far
they're
as they tie. No, they are. Last night, hold on. Oh, where's that stupid picture?
You talking about the one that GW put out?
No, we don't. I love GW.
The other one that was just put out that I looked at did not have them in top 3.
The Meta Watch.
Yeah, but the Meta Watch I don't think didn't. But the other thing that we were looking at earlier today didn't either. I'm not saying they're super far away, but they're not top 3.
Hold on. You're right, Necrons.
No.
No, they are. They dropped actually. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, I told you that.
Dropped to 54. Okay.
Yeah. No,
But all right, so
Eldar,
okay.
Gene Stealer cults, and then probably looking at Knights.
I got it. Yeah, hold on.
Knights or Chaos Space Marines are actually up there.
It's Gene Stealer cults, Eldar, and a very close tie between Thousand Sons and Black Templars.
Okay.
Which is a very weird.
Yeah, no.
Thousand Sons I can
guys are falling
understand.
back.
Black Templars. All right, but yeah, okay. I can see why Necrons are powerful. They got lethal hits, which in this edition there's no more armor value. There's high toughness. Lethal hits are just great. You bypass the toughness to auto wound. Sure, you're probably AP 0, maybe AP 1, but you have a blob of 20 warriors doing that every turn. It's gonna hurt. You have the anti-tank, you have the anti-infantry. Hell, even some of your anti-tank has anti-infantry, like the Annihilation Barge, right? Your Catans are great. Your lieutenants, what are they called? Cryptex, essentially. Mm-hmm. Your Cryptex are great because they can customize your army. You can make them, feel no pain, or you can make them something else, or you can make. Your melee is really good. You have a nice, good, beefy melee unit. It's just a very well-rounded army that's good.
Yeah.
There's really we maybe ran into out of the entire 100 and something million pages, like 116 pages, something like that. Because I already exited out, sadly.
Yeah.
I think it was 116 page. I think we ran into maybe 4 models that were meh, not including Forge World. Right?
Yeah.
There were like maybe 4, maybe 3 models where we were like, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing was really auto take. Nothing was really like, oh my God, I'm going to lose the game if I don't take this. But nothing was like, wow, this is except the terrain piece. But I'm not counting the terrain piece.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not counting it. It doesn't count in my book. Terrain pieces are weird because I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, I find this army to just be internally balanced, which is, it reminds me very much of what Custodians were in 8th edition, where it was just, there's really no bad choice. Every choice you could take is just a good choice. It's not feel bad. Yeah.
So far, I do like everything that I've seen. I think that, like you said, there's a few subpar options. Most stuff is reasonably balanced. Yes, if you're going for very competitive, there are certain choices you are absolutely going to make. Looking at warriors, looking at Lich Guard, looking at the people you add into them. So there's somewhat obvious choices there, at least to a certain extent. But outside of that, if you're playing for fun, even if you're playing semi-competitive, you can absolutely vary some things up. Like I said, you'd have some subpar choices. You are probably wanting warriors, but if you're playing Necrons, you probably have a bunch of warriors. You're going to want things like Lich Guard, but that's probably a unit you already have. The Reanimators, hopefully maybe a unit have. There's some good options here. This is a very survivable army. That is what it kind of puts its bread and butter on, but it does have good anti-tank. This is an army that, if you build it correctly, you're not really worried about their tanks. You have a good amount of survivability. You are not necessarily going to destroy your opponent, but you will be able to outlast them, and you should be able to put in the damage that you need to be able to do such a thing. Since you can bring squads back to an extent, outside of like facing Gene Stealer calls or something crazy like that, we're talking about just normal stuff. Outside of that, your squad should be able to survive longer than theirs, so just will them down. Because if all they have is a few guys left, and you've kept bringing yours back, you'll take your objectives. You'll take your positions. You're going to win this game off of points and off of being smart playing for those, rather than I've removed most of what you have. I'm not saying it can't happen. last time actually when I played Knights, I would have won if I could have removed the very last wound on the very last Knight. Missed it. But in general, you're probably more of taking it because you've just outlasted them in enough positions that matter. It's a set 5, currently, set 5 objective game, and 5 objectives you can deal with. 6 is tough, but 5 you can deal with because you can get the one on your back. You have enough deep striking style units to try to grab some spots in the middle or in the far end. You got enough infiltrating units to start on some objectives if you really want. You can decide how you want to play. I would absolutely make sure you lean into some of our units in terms of for destroying vehicles. So a couple Doomstalkers or maybe a couple Lokhust Heavy Destroyers or Doomsday Ark. I would spend a decent amount of points getting some of those units in there. I would spend some points on at least one giant 20-man block of warriors with the right upgrades, at least 1-man, 10-man squad of Lich Guard with the upgrades. Then I would sprinkle the taste depending on what I liked. If you got Tomb Blades and you like that sort of speed and maneuverability, grab those in. Praetorians you could even do, they're not great, but you could do. We have some different flyers. You could see some purposes for those. There's a lot of other choices. I think there's a nice core. You grab that core and then you branch out from there. All right, well, I think that'll do it for us tonight because it's both getting late and we've actually discussed everything. So, as always, we do want to thank everyone who does happen to listen to the show. Remember, we're available on any podcast you find, also on YouTube. For this, we've been displaying on YouTube as well. If you watch us on YouTube or want to click over at all, likes, comments, subscribes are what really help channels. That's really what we need at the end of the day. Those sort of things really help out our views and our counts and everything like that, especially to make more people find us. We do thank everyone who's actually been leaving comments. We've got some really nice comments lately. Some people saying, "Hey, we don't know why you're not more popular," stuff like that. All that kind of stuff. It is, nice. We do look through that. Depending on my work schedule is how fast I look through comments. But I try to make sure at least every few days I go back into the comments. I don't always comment something if I can't think of anything like good to say. Since I teach, I always kind of feel weird from like, "Hey, thanks," like little things like that kind of. I want something more.
I always comment. No, I'm just kidding.
You can.
I comment whatever I get.
Your comments work as well because that looks like a comment from someone else because it's not coming from the main account. So that's
that
actually
is
good.
True. That's right because I'm
your
not.
Comments don't come from the main account. So yeah, if the main account ever comments, that's me. I'm the one who comments off of that. So where we what are we doing next? Have you talked to Gavin about Votan? Have you actually had a conversation?
I have had a conversation. He basically said whenever we're available.
Well,
and just kind of talk about it with him. Yeah, so I'll talk about it with him, and I think Votan will be a good next one. Because again, I looked at their stats. Yeah, I looked at their stats, and I like him, but he was talking about why. He was talking about why, and I understand why now.
Yeah, no, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
And then now, if Steve has decided he's returned, don't call it comeback yet. If he actually has returned, we can start doing some 30K stuff, like that Raven Guard Rite of War that we've been lacking for.
Raven Guard.
We'll get back to
didn't forget. We were just waiting for all the rules to drop.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I mean, that's true. They've been out for a while.
But then it's also been like a month since all the rules dropped. Because
yeah, that's all right. Hey, you had a life change in a positive way, and that's fine.
Yes.
That's a good thing to have.
People who are upset that you had a life change.
I don't think... No one's been sitting around...
Yeah, exactly.
No one's sitting around saying like, whereas some people have been like, we want to see certain things, but like no one's saying it in like a negative way. People don't tend to like comment on like small channels with negative stuff really. So,
thank God.
Yeah. So this week, hopefully some Votan. We have to see since we're waiting for our one patron for that. We have to make sure he's actually available for it. Other things I don't know. It really depends on availability of other people. Right now, my availability is still good most nights because I don't work nights for now. So not entirely sure what you guys are going to see, but you were going to get more stuff this week. This should be out on Wednesday. You should get at least one more thing on Friday. Might get some stuff in between, depending on how the rest of the week goes. All right, I think that's everything. So on behalf of everyone here then at the show, have a good hobby and some great gaming.